What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 2. And just like that, football season is underway. But with that said, guys, if you are not already part of the Catch fam, we truly do encourage you to go down there, hit the subscribe button, join the Catch fam, join this community. Definitely join the Discord as well, as that is a great way to interact with the rest of the community and get fantasy football advice and consensus from not only Johnny Boy and myself, but also everybody else out there in the Catch fam. And we always do appreciate as well if you like that video and throw some comments in the bottom below so I can get in there, interacting with you guys, and help you get your rosters looking tough before the weekend, guys. Up first, I would be hard-pressed not to have the Buffalo Bills at the top of my list, guys. The Buffalo Bills looked absolutely fantastic against the reigning Super Bowl champions. Made them look like a JV football team, man. Buffalo Bills were flying around, 7 sacks. Von Miller looked like the greatest thing since sliced bread with butter on top, man. He looked fantastic. That secondary looked dominant. They had 3 interceptions against Matt Stafford, made him look just absolutely terrible, and only gave up 10 points. I think this Buffalo Bills defense going up against the Tennessee Titans, which lost to the New York Giants and which really didn't look that explosive. Derrick Henry was doing his thing, but he didn't really look like the King Henry, you know. I think the Bills are going to be able to do good work against him. They did very good against the Rams in terms of stopping their running game. And I also think that that secondary is going to be able to lock up the below average receiving core of the Tennessee Titans. I look to this game to be a really big opportunity for sacks and interceptions for sure, especially sacks. I think, Taylor Lewan, who got a little bit banged up during the game against the Giants, I think that defense is going to be able to eat all day long. Number 2, the Los Angeles Rams, the defense on the other side of that game. The defense that was a part of the team that got absolutely worked, man. The Rams played great, though. They truly did. They did give up 31 points, but hey, they were playing the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills offense with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I mean, that offense is looking amazing as always, but tell you what, the Rams did a really good job because while they did give up over 30 points, they still had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 picks. And that was with Jalen Ramsey getting blown out by Stephon Diggs all night long. So I think this Rams defense is going to bounce back in a big way against the Atlanta Falcons, one of the juiciest matchups. Marcus Mariota is no Josh Allen, and Zacchaeus and Drake London are no Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. This is a much better matchup, and I think the Rams are going to be super hungry to come back and beat the shit out of this team because, look, every single media source is saying Matt Stafford's done, Sean McVay's done, this Rams offense is done, and the only good thing about this team is Cooper Kupp. I think this team is super hungry. They want to come back. They want to play hard. Jalen Ramsey got beat up in the media too, saying that he was absolutely washed after the surgery he had over the offseason. This defense is going to come back. They're going to want to put up points in a big way, and they are wanting to just light up the Atlanta Falcons. I definitely think they're an absolute must start. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Look, I suggested that we start the Carolina Panthers last week against the Cleveland Browns. Now I'm switching up. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns here against the New York Jets. I think the Jets are a great team to stream against. I suggested the Ravens against them. The Ravens did pretty well against them too. Joe Flacco is not a good quarterback. I can double down on that every week. And until Joe Flacco is off the starting depth chart, I'm going to continue to take shots at streaming against him, especially with this Browns defense, which has Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edge and an absolutely lockdown secondary, which really gave this Panthers offense a lot of troubles. There was the one big deep shot to Robbie Anderson, which was kind of surprising to be totally honest. But outside of that, this Panthers offense struggled mightily against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns were able to get to Baker Mayfield with ease. Cleveland Browns had 4 sacks, just absolutely annihilated the offensive line there. And I think going up against the Jets, it's going to be a lot more of the same as well. Definitely, you can plug them in your lineups. I think this is going to be an easier defense to acquire as well than the Rams or the Bills, especially. Number 4, the Denver Broncos against the Houston Texans. Houston Texans played, they did a typical Houston Texan thing, which is they have these surprise games where they're supposed to get absolutely buried and they don't get buried, right? And unfortunately, it was against the Indianapolis Colts, my favorite team. But whatever, We're moving on. The Colts had 3 sacks and some turnovers against them. I think this Broncos defense, which is even, better at times than the Indianapolis Colts, especially, I think this defense has the way better offense to complement them, which is going to put them in better game scripts. This is definitely going to be a situation which I want to exploit. And I definitely think the Denver Broncos are an absolute slam play against the Houston Texans. And man, the Broncos had a pretty good opening first couple games in terms of a schedule, but they are going to be a defense that we need to keep an eye on all season long, I think. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers. And I get it. I was very disappointed. For all you who are part of the catch, know that I'm a big Trey Lancer. I've got Trey Lance in my personal league. But guess what, man? The 49ers defense actually did get to Justin Fields with a little bit of ease. They still held the Bears to under 20 points, and they got 2 sacks on him. And Justin Fields is a guy who can really make it hard for a defense to get to him. But going up week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith, I think this is going to be a really much better matchup, because while I do think the 49ers are going to come back in a big way off of a big-time embarrassing loss opening day, but I also think going up against a guy like a Geno Smith, much more of a stand-up passer, not as much wheels, is going to be better for a guy like Bosa and this really strong defense to come across the edge there. And again, they have one of the best defensive efficiency rating defensive lines against the run game as well. So I think they're going to do a tremendous job of being a strong defense. And listen, at the end of the day, sometimes when you're streaming defenses, you need to exploit the weaker matchups. And I still think the Seattle Seahawks are one of those weak matchups that we need to take advantage of. And sometimes you just got to look at a bad performance by a strong defense and just say, hey, crumple up that piece of paper, throw it in the trash. That was 1 week. We're moving on. Up next, we're going to go into a couple streamers that I really do like this week as well. And we're going to start off with my favorite team who disappointed me in a big way, the Indianapolis Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The big reason I'm coming back to the table is, listen, I know they were disappointing, but the fact of the matter is we had 7+ people out that week, and we were going up against a team, the Houston Texans, that have given us trouble in the past, and we have been 0-9 now in terms of season openers. So it's just a perfect storm for not really a good situation, right? In terms of going to produce good fantasy results. And unfortunately, it just happened, right? We tied the game. But going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, to this point in his career, has been very turnover prone. In fact, more turnover prone than Davis Mills for the Houston Texans. We are going to come back hungrier, and I think this defense is going to come back healthier and hungrier as well. And they're going to take advantage of the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars receivers, outside of maybe Christian Kirk, really struggle to get separation, which puts Trevor Lawrence in a situation where he has to force it a lot, and that's where the turnovers come about. Lastly, guys, it would be really hard for me not to put these guys on this list in terms of streamers. The Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the New England Patriots. Steelers had 26 fantasy points. I really loved everything they did as a defensive roster, blocking a kick, 7 sacks, 4 picks, 2 forced fumbles, a defensive touchdown. They really did it all. And I understand TJ Watt is hurt, and that was a real reason that these guys weren't a for sure start, must lock defense for me. But with that said, I also couldn't let them fall out completely, right? They're going up against the New England Patriots, which isn't like a absolute must take advantage of matchup, because it's still the Patriots. But at the end of the day, they got Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinator. And I have never seen a team look as dysfunctional in the Patriots organization as they did against the Miami Dolphins week 1. So I'm still very comfortable taking a shot against that offense and putting the Steelers out there and rolling them out there and playing hard, because Minka Fitzpatrick is still there. I understand Watt's gone, but you still got a lot of talent. Cameron Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick, that defense is still going to be flying around, creating turnovers, making plays happen. And that Patriots offense could be much worse than we expected coming in. All right, that's it, guys. That has been the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 2. It has been a pleasure. And if you guys do enjoy this video, it's always appreciated if you do hit that like button. Make sure to throw some comments in the bottom as well. Let me know what you think about the video. Let me know what you think about the defenses that are in there. But more importantly, let me know what defenses are on your respective teams so I can give you some advice, give you some comments. But also, it doesn't just stop at the defense. Let me know about your kickers, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. I want to get your team right before next weekend, guys, because week 1, whether you won or you lost, doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's a long fantasy season. Do not give up regardless. And the defense position is still absolutely a position you need to be streaming on a weekly basis, unless you're fortunate enough to have a defense like the Buffalo Bills. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, you saw it here first at the catch.